I'm Ken.
And I'm Charlene. We're from Tennessee.
And you're watching the Rest of Everest podcast.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 18, Yak-Tastic.
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest video podcast. I'm John Miller. You know, it's been about a month since I've released a new episode, and I really want to thank everyone for hanging in there, and especially want to thank Ken and Charlene from Tennessee there in the intro there. You saw a little video. They actually told me they were coming out to Rocky Mountain National Park. They're viewers of the podcast. I'd never met them before, and I suggested, hey, that's pretty close to me, why don't we go for a hike? We went for a hike, had a great time, and they volunteered to do that little intro for me. So thank you so much, Ken and Charlene. That was so much fun. You guys are famous. So let's get back to the podcast. We have so much cool stuff coming up, and this is just the beginning of getting back onto the regular schedule. I'm so excited to be back. I want to say hello to everyone who's recently joined the podcast over the past several weeks. I've been featured in the iTunes Music Store in the travel area, the society and culture section, and you know, my audience has just about doubled in the past few weeks. So welcome everyone, and don't forget to start at episode 0 if you're just joining us, and work your way forward. You'll get a lot more out of this podcast. So it's just me this week, but I've got lots of good guests coming up in the next several episodes. So let's get back to base camp. Let's just dive back in, and let's pack out some yaks. Here we go. Yak, yak, yak. So, for those of you who might have forgotten, it's been so long, this is getting ready to leave for advanced base camp to start the climb, and we had to pack everything onto the yaks. The previous episode we weighed everything, and so this episode, it's actually just getting everything onto the animals to get up there, and before you can actually load everything on the animals, you have to basically get everything organized and get everyone organized. So here are all of the different yak herders who are going to be taking our gear up to advanced base camp, kind of pounding out the details. And Lawang the diplomat here, making sure everything works out in our favor. You know, yaks were not as large as I thought they would be. I was actually expecting them to be more the size of cows or buffalo, and you know, they're actually quite small. Certainly, small does not mean friendly. They're not the most friendly animals I've ever been around. They're kind of ornery, but you know, they sure can carry a lot of weight, and they're just extremely hardy animals. Just amazing. They eat very little, they drink very little, and you know, they can just carry these large loads that you'll see in a little bit up to extremely high altitudes. And as I understand it, they actually can't go to low altitudes very well. They can get ill, sort of, I guess, a reverse altitude sickness from too little altitude. That camp in the background is the Russians that we're friends with, and if you see that figure in blue he's got a white something over his shoulder there, that was Pempa, and that was him going to go fetch water. people have asked us, how do you get your water? Well, there was a stream that ran through base camp here in Tibet, and numerous times every day, Dawa or Pempa would go and they would fill up these water containers and carry everything back to camp where it would then be boiled. And I don't really remember exactly how far it was. Maybe I want to say half a mile to where the good spot was to get water. So it was not an easy thing to do, and they did it numerous times every day. These guys just took such good care of us, and it was just part of their job. That's what they did. Can tell the negotiations here have not calmed down yet. The other thing that I really recall from this whole experience was that yaks, from what I recall, they would rather just lay down and do nothing. They would definitely rather not move. If they're not provoked, they will just stay put. And of course, not everything's going up on a yak. That will be going up on bed. That pack right there. And here's the arrival of some more animals. We didn't have all of the animals there yet. Here's where you can really hear all of the whistling, and you can see how the herders get all the animals corralled and everything. They whistle, they hiss, and sometimes they'll grab the animals by the horns, and other times they will get the animals moving in different directions by just expertly throwing rocks, just little tiny pebbles at the yaks. So you can see they're not as big as large beasts of burden. They're sort of miniature buffalo almost, in a way. I don't know. They're yaks. They're nothing else but yaks. You can really hear the whistles here. And of course every yak has a bell or several bells on them, as well as they're all adorned with prayer flags and different bits of yarn and everything. They're all decorated. That guy there was like, "Don't come any closer to me." They're extremely suspicious. So what these guys are all going to be doing now is they're loading everything onto the yaks, onto these harnesses that they've got here, these wooden harnesses. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the loads balanced, so each side of the yak has about the same amount of weight. And they really try to get them as close as possible, because the trail, in the next episode you'll see the trail up to Advanced Base Camp. It's extremely rocky, and there's lots of sections of it that are just really awkward. And so you want to make sure that the yaks are balanced, their loads are balanced, so that they're not heavier on one side or the other and would potentially fall over, because there's sections where you can fall over and you can fall hundreds of feet. And you know, that's just not, you don't want that to happen, obviously. And there's a little bit of food. That's some grain for the yaks. This guy found it. He's like, jackpot! That guy right there is wearing one of those jackets I was talking about in previous episodes, where it looks like it's leather. Looks like it's a leather jacket, an old beaten leather jacket, but in fact it's nylon. It's just never been washed. Really took me by surprise a few times. I really thought these guys were wearing leather jackets, and I thought that just seemed a little bit silly. You'd like a nylon jacket full of, you know, feathers, full of down, and that's exactly what it is. Smarter than me. Much smarter than me. And that blue container there, that is an extremely familiar sight on expeditions. That is just a plastic barrel that's extremely rugged, and you can pack all kinds of stuff in there. And you can lock them, you can use them as toilets, you can, you know, put loose stuff, you can put all kinds of stuff in there. And they're just extremely versatile, and they're really strong, and it's part of the site of an expedition. The yaks are not always cooperative. In fact, I think it might be one of their credos to not be cooperative. They certainly want to go off and do their own thing. I know that many of you out there in the audience will probably never get to Everest. I'm sad to say, and I'm extremely lucky to have gone, but I can tell you that the sounds on this episode transport you back to base camp like nothing else. Just hearing these sounds is it's part of the experience. I could close my eyes and just listen to it, and it's as if I'm back at base camp, because the sounds are so unique to this part of the world, and it just takes me right back. It's just amazing to me to watch and listen to this footage. You might as well be there. This is so cool. Oh, there goes that yak. I can't really blame them for not wanting to get loaded up with all that gear. Now, these yak herders don't actually live right there where base camp is. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of vegetation up there. So what they do is they come up from a little bit lower altitude, and they bring all of their herds up, and then after everyone's up at advanced base camp, they go back down to lower altitude, and then when the expeditions are finished at the end of the climbing season, they come back up to base camp and then go up to advanced base camp. And as an aside here, that's one of my favorite shots from the whole trip. My friend Tom Masterson from the Russian team, I had been filming in one direction, and he said, "John, look over there. You got to get a shot of this yak up there. It's just beautiful." So thanks, Tom, for that. But so at the end of the climbing season, they bring their herds back up from the little bit lower altitude. We're at about 17,000 feet here. I think they go down to about 15,000 feet. Which might not seem like a whole lot, but actually it's quite a bit. It makes quite a difference. Well, that yak finally was seen. He was hoping that no one saw him there, was able to sneak away, but they always get found.
This takes time. Take time to get us out of here, and take time to get you guys up and rearing to go.
You can hear that my cough has started, my high altitude cough. That was me coughing from behind the camera. You'll hear a lot more of that.
Got a giant strap in here too for the camera. All set up.
What do you think, Ben? You're just gonna finally set foot in the mountain?
About time. I'm ready. Definitely ready. All right. You're set, fella.
That's Tom right there. It's my friend Tom.
Jed, you good? Yeah, I don't wear it. It always constricts. Unless I'm filming. Right there. Well, Mr. Miller.
All
Time
right.
off is good. Have a good one. See you guys. Okay, man. All right, dog. You stay out of trouble, okay? You keep him out of trouble. Good luck. Thank you, sir. Do what we can.
Now remember, this is the start of the climb, so I know it seems like probably months have passed for all of you by the time you're watching this, but you know, it's been about just a couple of weeks since we left the United States, maybe 2.5 weeks. So it hasn't been a whole lot of time, but there's been so much that's happened, and you know, starting the climb, it's a big deal. Obviously, that's why you're there. So there's a little bit of pomp and circumstance here, but a little bit of offerings made there. That right there, I'd forgotten about that. I ran up that hill to get that shot of Ben climbing up there. I just about keeled over, so that was me finally realizing I couldn't stop the heavy panting any longer. I still wasn't acclimated. No one was acclimated yet for this. All those black dots there are people or yaks, or you just get this steady stream heading up to Advanced Base Camp, and it's sort of a never-ending stream of people, and that is where we're going to leave off for this episode. And next episode, we become one of those black dots and head up to Advanced Base Camp to give all of you a really good glimpse of what it's like to actually start the climb up Mount Everest. So please stay tuned for that one. Again, those of you who have just joined us, please, consider going back to episode 0, the intro, and working your way forward. And I hope that those of you who had joined us just before I took a short break in posting episodes were able to catch up. And I hope you enjoy the coming episodes. Have a lot in store, a lot to show everyone. So take care, and we'll see you next time. The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website. Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest, It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.